Hello, welcome everyone to this month's Wednesday webinar. I'm Karen Menti. I'm a librarian with the UAGC Library. I'm the liaison to the Forbes School of Business and Technology. I'm joined today in the chat. You'll see a few of my librarian colleagues. We've got Anna and Allison and Kristen here today. So we're all ready and available to answer any questions that you have as we go through this. Today, we're very lucky to have Kenesha Gaston here to talk about using SAGE research methods, or SRM for short. This is one of my favorite databases in the library. It's a really special database. It's not like a lot of our other collections. It's such a vital tool for our students, especially those students in our doctoral program, of course, as they navigate their ADPs or dissertation. But it's also just a great database for any student navigating scholarly research. When they run into different research methods or testing instruments in their research that they may be unfamiliar with, this is a great resource to point them towards. And I think you'll see today that just the user-friendly tools and resources included inside this database really makes it easy for students to learn about methodology just as they browse and explore SAGE research methods itself. So before I hand things over to Kenesha to tell us more about SRM, I do want to guide you in how to get to the database from the library in case you want to follow along. And let me pull up my library screen here. Let's see, there it is. Okay, can you all still see my screen? Oh, I lost my, let's see. Can you see it okay, Kenesha?
I can see it.
Okay, great. So this is the landing page, of course, for the UAGC library. To get to SAGE research methods, there's a couple different ways, but I find the easiest way to get to any of our specific databases is find articles and more. And this allows you to search databases from A to Z. So click the databases A to Z list, and then you can jump to S, of course, for SAGE research methods. We do have another SAGE product, SAGE Journals Online. That is a completely different database. So if you're directing students how to get to SAGE research methods, make sure that they're going to the research methods database. That's the one that we're talking about today. And also good to note, we have a link to this database in the Research Resource Center for any doctoral students that might be looking for it. It's right there in the quick links section of the Research Resource Center. So now I'm going to hand things over to Kenesha to walk us through using the database. But of course, if you have any questions or any comments, please feel free to drop them in the chat. We definitely want this to be an engaging presentation.
Hey, Karen, I have a quick question. I was wondering if you can you post a link to the UAGC SAGE library in the chat? I tried to access it by just like going to the website that you had up there, but for some reason I wasn't able to get in.
To get to the library itself, or to
yeah, just to that page right there.
Oh, okay. You have to get to it through, let me show you actually, because you have to, if you just copy and paste the link, it doesn't work. You have to go through, because of authentication, you actually have to enter it through like your Canvas course page.
Oh, okay.
Let's see, let me show you. Let me get into Canvas here. So let's say, can you still see my Canvas screen?
Yes.
Yeah, so let me walk you through it. Let's say if I'm in this course in Canvas, there will always be a link on the left-hand side to Writing Center and Library.
Okay.
And from clicking that link, and it's the same process for students as well. They have to enter through the Canvas course page or their student portal. We have a link to the library in the student portal. And I think we probably do in the faculty portal as well. I don't know, can any other librarians confirm that for me? Do you guys know?
You know, I'm logged in under me.
Okay.
And I don't see I don't have all the stuff that the students have.
Oh, okay.
I just have courses, calendar, and inbox.
Oh, no.
Unless I have to look, maybe I go and log into a course and maybe I could access it that way.
Oh,
yeah, you do. You have to log into a course and then you can see the left-hand side for that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not teaching any courses right now, so that's why I didn't.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Does any faculty know, is there another way to get to it through like the faculty portal? maybe, or anything like that? I'm not
I do
sure.
have access now. I logged into a course.
Okay.
Thank you so
Oh,
much.
good. Well, thank you, Pete, because that's a useful thing for us to show everyone. It's good to know, how to get to the library. That's often, as librarians, we take it for granted. And oftentimes students, we show them all these things and they're like, but wait, you didn't show me the most important thing. Like, how do I get to the library? So thank you for asking.
You're welcome.
Okay, any other questions before we get started? I'll go ahead and stop my share.
I have one quick question. Is this going
Yeah.
to be recorded for if you want to go back over it?
Yes, absolutely. We record all our Wednesday webinar sessions, and they're all posted on the library CETL page. If you ever want to go back and watch them again, we have a link to the recordings, and I'll send that out as soon as it's ready. Probably by tomorrow at the latest, we'll have that recording for you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great questions. All right, keep them coming. Thanks, Kanisha. Take it away.
Sure, and thank you all for having me here today. I'd like to start with just a brief introduction. My name is Kanisha Gaston. I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina right now, and I am an engagement librarian, or I'm part of a team of engagement librarians at SAGE. I'm bringing up this page just for a quick second because I'm not your assigned engagement librarian. Actually, Anna Gamirez, pictured here. There's a little information there about Anna on the screen. She works closely with your librarians and their library colleagues to make sure that we make things like this possible so that we can go through SAGE learning resources or receive updated information about the learning resources, or just to field questions you may have about them and how you can better use them with your users. So today we're going to focus on SAGE research methods. SAGE research methods is a favorite of mine since I've joined SAGE, and I think it can quickly become a new favorite of yours too. As we talk about SAGE research methods today, we're going to do so from the perspective of someone moving through the research journey. We know that our students, our learners come to us with a ton of different skills and different knowledge sets, and we just want to build on that as we improve their ability to navigate the research process. For those of you who are not familiar with SAGE research methods, it is a methods library of more than 1,000 books, reference works, journal articles, and instructional videos created by leading world academics, so created alongside SAGE or materials that we've sourced from other places. And we try to make sure that the content represents the different social sciences. And so we are very proud to say that we have the largest collection of qualitative method books available online from any scholarly publisher. The site is designed to guide users to the content they need to learn a little or a lot about their chosen method. So we'll talk about that as we move through this research journey together. We'll also talk about any platform changes. If you haven't visited the SAGE Research Methods website before, or if you're familiar with it from past uses or past interactions, you'll see that there's a little difference in the way that you navigate it, different branding, different color schemes and icons, just to get you to content a bit faster. Okay. I'll pause here just to reiterate a few things Karen mentioned. We have wonderful library colleagues here with us today. So if you have questions, do not hesitate to put them in the chat. They can flag me so that I can stop and answer them, but we will save about 15 to 20 minutes at the end to address your questions. All right. So the research journey. There are different ways that we can describe the research process or one's journey through the research process. But as we talk about it, we'll highlight some key content, key tools and features of SAGE research methods that will assist you in assisting others as they move through the research process. One of the best resources or first resource I like to mention, and something that can be used at any stage of the process, but especially when maybe a user is trying to define a research question, is the project planner. This project planner allows you to find guidance through the process, and maybe, as we have here, think about developing research questions. The project planner is a tool that can be used in isolation or in totality. What that means is a user can jump to a specific place in the research process, and I'll just scroll down. I'm actually going to zoom out a bit so you can see all of the phases of the research process the project planner covers here on the left-hand side. So a user can jump to a specific place, like here, developing a research question, or they can begin at the beginning of the project planner and move through the tool using the next buttons at the end of every page. As a user is moving through the project planner, you'll find a few features no matter where they are. First, there's an introduction to that stage of the research process. So in this stage, you will, and then identify some goals or some objectives for the user. And then you have a series of questions, which I love because we think about research as inquiry, and also kind of evaluating our process as a process of questioning or inquiry. So you'll see all the headers have questions that focus on the learner or the person reading. How can I decide what to study? How do I identify a good research topic? And then after opening the caret or the questions, the user then moves through a series of prompts that gives them information about designing their research or approaching research at that different stage. And then also some takeaways or things for them to try. Maybe resources to look at, checklists that they can take and download and use as they move through their inquiry project or their research process. You've probably noticed a few icons just on the different pages. We have add to list, get a link, cite, share, embed, and download PDF. I'll talk about these icons now, but you'll see them across the Sage Research Methods platform for all the content pieces so that we'll know, well, what do we do when we see something on the platform that we want to use? I'll skip add to list for now, but every piece of content has a permalink associated with it that you can place in your LMS or maybe email to a student or even put in a syllabus. There are citations in various formats for all content. You can copy to a clipboard or export it to a popular reference and citation manager. You can share via social media or through direct email to a person. If you have a profile, which we'll get into a little bit later, your email is automatically inputted there. Otherwise, you'll type it in and then send to the recipient. And then all content across Sage Research Methods is embeddable. So you can learn more about embedding in your LMS or get support from anyone who helps with kind of like course components or course structures to figure out how to embed a copy to a clipboard. And then lastly, you can download and encourage your users to kind of walk away with the resource, use it offline, or just to keep a copy if they need to create a copy for you to put into your LMS. Feel free to drop any questions you have about the project planner into the chat, but we'll look at a few other resources with navigating the research process. So we also have maybe video tutorials to help with definition of your research question. One example we have here, or two that are listed there, come from different disciplines. If you're using video content or any multimedia content, everything you can view and play within the platform. It comes with transcripts, so any video content or any other multimedia content has transcripts that you can encourage your users to download or that you can search through using that search bar to pull out quotes for your own teaching and learning. All of our content, especially videos, comes with summaries or abstracts. So here we have this professor, I believe of sociology, discussing research questions, their purpose and scope. So perhaps you're defining the research question, and you just want to have another voice in the room and pull from an expert in doing so. You're able to see any relevant chapters here. It's just one because this is a very quick tutorial video under 5 minutes. And then information about the video. And this information is found in all of our content, whether it's under just kind of content info, book info, video info, or any kind of bibliographic information. Going back, we also have video or tutorials about the same content. So if we think about maybe what we want to teach or talk about in the classroom during a certain unit, maybe it's defining a research question, later it's maybe about research design, you can find different scholars from different disciplines talking about the same method so that your students get perspectives on different research methods across the disciplines. So in this example, we have an individual talking about, through animation, developing a research question, but from a marketing perspective here. Same features, having a summary, any chapters that we're exploring, because this is a quick kind of tutorial, not many chapters, and then the video information. Okay. I'll pause here to see if there are any questions just about some of the resources we've looked at as we've started out on our research journey.
Thanks, Kanisha. That's one thing that I love about this database is that it's so easy. Things are, you can filter by discipline. So it's all really relevant, which I appreciate, when I'm looking for resources for a specific course or something, it always helps when it's relevant to that discipline. So thank you. And I asked in the chat, would you be willing to share this PDF with us that you're going through?
Yes, I'll be able to share it in the chat now, but I can also send it to you right after, and you can share out to everyone that way.
Thank you.
All right. So I'm glad you brought up just kind of the different disciplines that are represented through SAGE research methods. And I want to take a half step back before moving forward. If I were a professor or a lecturer or instructor, maybe trying to design or find content relevant to my discipline, how would I do that through SAGE research methods? If I go to the SAGE research methods homepage, you have the option of using this menu in this header and clicking on browse by and finding your discipline pretty quickly. So for this example, I'm just going to click on economics. And because this platform is so user-friendly, and just thinking about all researchers, no matter their level, every discipline-specific results page is going to have a bit of background information about common research methods in that discipline, maybe types of analyses that are used or different methods used there, so that if your user absolutely has no idea where to start, and maybe they don't have an idea just because they just started the course and haven't been introduced to anything yet, all of these concepts are hyperlinked to direct them to a place. So maybe they're, again, interested in economics. They know they may need to do a little bit of statistical modeling. They can immediately click on that concept there and then move to content that is about statistical modeling and start educating themselves or interacting with the information there. Another way we can think about searching by discipline, and if we are designing maybe a few, I guess, learning experiences related to the research process, just gonna have to go back and select my discipline here. Apply that filter. You or your users can start with a discipline-specific search, go to the left-hand side here, and you can enter in keywords to search within those results. So we were talking about defining a research question. Maybe I'm starting on the discipline level, seeing if there's any content related to research questions in economics, and then filter that way. Okay. You may enter other terms if you have any other kind of subtopics within economics that you want to search for to see if there's any information about those topics or methods within the discipline search. Okay. So moving along our journey, next we have the review of literature. I don't know if sometimes this was tricky for me to understand when I was in undergrad and then even getting into graduate level coursework. But Sage Research Methods can support you in supporting your learners by finding practical tutorials on completing the literature review. So here we have a practitioner speaking about conducting the literature review or using tools like the project planner again. So I use the tools menu here to get to project planner. And then there's a section on reviewing the literature that I compare with other content I find in a platform to essentially maybe not fully replace the textbook, but create a series of readings and experiences for your learner to think about this topic. Just scrolling down so you all can see some of the questions they'll encounter in this section of the project planner. Other ways of maybe teaching the literature review or review of literature or concepts related to it is using the foundations portion of Sage Research Methods. Foundations is a section that is often overlooked, but what you'll find in foundations are a series of, you can think of them as almost like definitions, entries, and maybe even mini explorations into people, concepts, and also just developments related to research methods. So here we have a foundations entry about systematic reviews. You'll always have the editor and author information, and then any disciplines where this concept is used. You'll also see if that foundations entry, as you find them, are part of series. So here we have a foundation series just all about archiving and synthesizing qualitative research and where systematic reviews fit into that. And so you can bring your users just to some very, I'll say basic, but very well thought out introductions to concepts along the research journey. If you're unfamiliar with foundations, I'll just click here for a second. Okay, it's not going for me, but that's all right. I can definitely pull some more examples for you all later. Okay. Moving forward, we have getting into the actual design of the research or research design. And this is where we see some different content across Sage Research Methods. So I'll first talk through some of these examples of maybe content you can use to teach research design, but then I'll go through the different content types that you'll find within Sage Research Methods. So a lot of times when maybe we're approaching teaching research design, we pull out examples for our learners. Maybe we want to see or want them to see the research in action. We want them to see reflections on using certain research designs over others, the pluses and minuses with doing so. But we have content types that support you in showing that to your users or to your researchers. Cases, for example, allow you to see how other researchers have approached related topics or used related methods. So in this particular case, we have someone using a mixed methods approach, specifically in some urban primary healthcare intervention. And after looking through the abstract, you'll see that a lot of these content types under kind of like showing you what others do, present learning outcomes that you can use in your own classroom or kind of revise or revamp just to fit where your learners are, giving you an overview or like an introduction to the case that you'll see, and some context with summaries that you can pull out or rely on, and then breakdowns of that research design so that your users and also you are seeing how someone moved through it from start to finish. A lot of the cases and the other content we'll see in a second includes downloadable tables, sources for the images, sometimes downloadable images, and then hyperlinks to related studies that are not blocked by any paywall so that you can extend your review of this case or incorporate other materials. The cases are meant to be teachable, meaning that we want you to pull out lessons, use the conclusions, and use our other features like classroom discussion questions and multiple choice quizzes. As a note, the discussion questions, sometimes they may come in the PDF download as a separate page so that you can manipulate them, pull them out. The multiple choice questions are just a portion or of the interface. We do not store any data about the results of the multiple choice quizzes. We are not able to share the results of the multiple choice quizzes. You can think of them as kind of a recall and reflective measure, not anything that is focused on deeper assessment or any application of learning. At the end of your cases, you'll always have further readings and web resources and references. And as much as possible, we try to pull out hyperlinks or links to those resources so that you can get access to them if you want to use them in your teaching and learning. All right. Just going back to the top here. Other item types that we have or content types are our books and reference material. You can think about, again, what's the research design I'm introducing to my students or to my learners, and then find relevant books and reference material. So here we're looking at some quantitative, qualitative, and mixed methods research designs. And we have a textbook or a book that you can incorporate in your course in a myriad of ways. So first, you can always provide a direct link to the full text, just like you can to any other content across Sage Research Methods. But if there are particular chapters that you'd like your learners to read, maybe on ethnographic perspectives here, once you click on those chapters, those individual chapters are downloadable, embeddable. You're able to move through them as you would a book by showing the page numbers and maybe directing your learners to a specific page. And then also you can use the side navigation to jump to specific sections of a chapter so they can easily read what they need to read for class or before coming to class, or just move through all of the content. You'll see here that you're able to download the images. So maybe you want to pull them into your slides as you're teaching with the resource and cite them. Or maybe you want your users to refer back to them in some way. But every books and reference material just tries to or attempts to provide detailed explanations, but also any visual examples. And lastly, we have business, where there are many video tutorials discussing research design. This one, a video type is a case study. So moving through specifically unique research design and case studies on job seeking. Okay. So what happens if maybe these resources don't fit what you need? I know I've only pulled out 3 here. Well, Sage Research Methods has a way for you to search by research method, or to, again, start with a discipline-specific search and then filter out your results by research method. The best tool for doing so is the Methods map. So again, I'm going back to this header menu, to the Tools tab, and I'm clicking on Methods map. And Methods map visually demonstrates how methods are related. So maybe I am a learner, I'm a student in one of your courses, and I know that we've talked about action research a ton. So I can search for this method. You'll see that there's help text that pops up, maybe helping me specify the type of action research, but I'm just interested in action research. And as soon as I hit search, the visualization in the center of the screen changes. I have a definition of action research if I didn't know before. And then I can immediately search all content related to or on action research. My results list is going to cut across all the disciplines, so I can come over here to the side and filter out disciplines. I can also filter out the different content types and learn more about this method that way. Or if I'm using the methods map, I can look at broader terms related to action research, or even narrower terms. So maybe action research and social change is of interest to me now that I'm designing my research. And I see that the term changes. See social change at the top, the definition, a link to related content, and then tracking my movement through the methods and the different relationships. Okay. Definitely put any questions in the chat if you have, or just curious about the methods map and what else it may be able to do. But another way of maybe getting to certain research methods, getting to kind of examples of research designs, is I can go back to the home page and just explore by content type. Many of us are familiar with books and reference materials. So underneath this content type, we have books, we have handbooks, providing some comprehensive coverage of subjects, encyclopedias and dictionaries, so formats we're familiar with. But then we also have little green books and little blue books, as well as journal articles. Little green books and little blue books are oftentimes kind of unfamiliar to people coming to Sage Research Methods. So if you're looking for guidance, step-by-step guidance in teaching quantitative applications, then you're going to go to your little green books. And some individuals use little green books as supplementary textbooks in a course, and we'll see why in a second. The format is very similar to the book page that we viewed earlier, where you can move to content. And just like a normal book that we're used to, we have kind of an explanation of the concept or term. And if there's any kind of steps or needs to show like a diagram of a process or of a, let's say, equation, you'll see them in the text. On the other side, we have little blue books. So this is guidance on qualitative research methods. So green books, quantitative, blue books, qualitative. And again, they function like small textbooks where you'll get examples, full definitions and explanations, any kind of context on the term or concept. Okay. Other content types we have are the cases, which we previewed. Very popular because they include some of the teaching materials alongside them. There are data sets. And this is where you'll see a lot of new updates, especially with some mixed methods data sets, quantitative and qualitative. But you can browse them by discipline or select them by method. So getting to those specific methods you're looking for to include in your course. And then you can browse just by all quantitative data sets, all qualitative. Once you click on a data set, I'll pull up an example for you. Very similarly to the cases, you'll have a summary. You'll get access to the data set itself, just like the case. You can download it. And then teaching and learning materials with guides for both the teacher and the student. that you can take and revise to fit your needs, and any data set info to discuss with students or to share out. Is there a question? Nope. Okay. All right, our other case types and our newer, I'm sorry, not case types, content types, we have our podcasts and video. These are probably our newer content types. So the podcasts are becoming a favorite of mine. You can learn from leading social scientists and how they kind of grapple with certain issues with methodology in their research. Although the sorting wasn't the same as the data sets where you can jump directly to a method, you can see the method used or discussed in the podcast in this information under the title here. It's also visible from the results list. If we go back to it. Okay, so you see the method, everything hyperlinked there. Okay. And then our last content type, we have video. This allows you to sort or browse by discipline and also method. So jump to that method you want to discuss during that research design phase. You can also browse by video type, where we have case studies. So like the one we previewed earlier, interviews, and then also tutorials. So we've seen a few of those early on today. Feel free to put any questions you have about the content types in the chat. We have just a few more minutes and then we'll get to all of our questions. As we move through this research journey, you may talk to your learners just about ethical considerations. And so we have a growing kind of section of SAGE research methods that's focused on ethics and integrity in research. Not so much like law and ethics and how that kind of comes into play with research, but just what we need to consider when we are maybe researching with or interacting with vulnerable populations, why it's important for us to consider this as social scientists, as people who are maybe just exploring the social sciences. And then also thinking about ethical considerations online now that we are researching more often online or interacting with different populations in online research, if it's online surveys or online interviews. And so we have a few handbooks and other materials related to that. Kind of moving along, we get kind of towards the end of our research journey. We may be interpreting results after collecting data or interpreting results of found data, source data. And so going back to those data sets and then also some of our video collections on data analytics, or some of our collections that just talk about qualitative and mixed methods video, you'll be able to find two things. One, you can use some of this to work with data with your users, or you can look at video or tutorials where people discuss working with data and different theories around that as you're moving as to your users through this part of the research journey. And lastly, we have communicating findings. So we know at the end, there's going to be an output, something that is shareable. And so there may be different ways that you are guiding your users to do that. Do they have to visualize their findings and present in a poster session? Do they need to write up an academic paper of some sort to prepare for publication, or just to submit via the LMS and receive a grade for it? So we have different practitioners talking about data visualization. I'm so sorry about this one. So there's supposed to be a video here, actually, of somebody walking through this. I apologize, it went to the wrong thing. Maybe this is the second one. Yes. so sorry, there's supposed to be a video of someone talking through using a specific tool or software in their data visualization. So I will find that and put that in a follow-up. But in this example here, we have somebody walking through the publishing process. So how does somebody publish an article? Just to give somebody an introduction to that, if that's where they're headed at the end of their research journey or towards the end of their research journey. Okay. All right. So I'll give you a moment to think of some questions you may have. Um, as you're thinking of those questions, I just want to point out the profile. So what do you do with all this neat stuff that you maybe have found for your course? Where does it go? At the beginning, I talked about this add to list feature pretty quickly. Let's say you are designing a series of readings or putting together a series of materials for your course, whether it's for homework or that's what they're going to use to learn about a concept initially. You're able to create list of materials within Sage Research Methods using the profile. So I'm logged into your library's profile right now. So for all of the library colleagues on the line, feel free to delete anything I create. But you can, when you find something neat, add to a list. I'm going to create a new list. I'm just going to call it practice for today. Practice course. I can make that list private or public. I'm going to make it public because I do intend to share it with my students, and hit save. And now I've added this resource to a list. I'm going to add just a few other resources. So we have a small list here. And then when I go to my profile, view my profile, I'll see all of my lists, and I can go in, look at everything I've collected for myself or for a different audience, maybe my students, create citations for them all to put into my syllabus for the year, embed the entire list into my LMS or embed just certain ones, or just create a link. Like you'll find all your readings here, or you'll find the readings for your homework assignment here. Other things I can do is move materials up or down to create a sense of order. I want you to look at this video first, read this journal article second, read this case third, and then I can simply remove things that I don't need. Maybe I'm teaching this course next semester and I decided this is not a very useful video or reading and want to get rid of it. Other ways that we can kind of move through all of this material is if we go to, let's say, our results list for something. So I'm going to browse by discipline, interested in business and management content. And maybe I'm looking at the use of interviews as a practice in business and management research. And I want to stay abreast of all content within Sage Research Methods related to interviews in this discipline. I can save that search. So the save search button is turning blue here. All right, so a business and management course, so I can pull content or look for content throughout the year, hit save. And now when I go to my profile, I can go to my searches. I see my business and management course, and I can go to the results or I can run that search at any time throughout the year, throughout the week, and see the results that pop up. I will say last year there was a small glitch with this. Okay, I see that it's still there, where it was just returning all results. So I'll have to follow up to see when that'll be resolved. But most days it's working very well. You could even encourage your students to use safe searches if you have them exploring a research design throughout the year, and maybe they need to find their own sources of information about that research design, a way for them to come back to the results. All right. I'm going to pop back onto this screen. and just pause and see if there are any questions. I'm happy to go back to any part of this quick walkthrough or refresh of SAGE research methods and answer any new questions you may have.
We'll give folks a chance to think if they have any questions. I am just excited. I have not checked out the podcasts yet, and I keep meaning to. I keep forgetting that they're there. But I just love all the different ways that, you know, people who prefer to have video versus reading something, or even, you know, listen to a podcast, how they can really extend their learning about the research process. It's just such a cool database. So thank you for sharing it with us. Did anyone have any questions? If not, I'd love to show you an HTML announcement that we've created. Let me put it in the chat. This will just make it as easy as possible for you to share this resource with your students. Thank you, Dana. Thanks for coming. I put in the chat a SAGE Research Methods HTML announcement. This is all, I wanted to also just plug, we've now sort of collected, that's the word I'm looking for, collected all of our HTML announcements on one page in, and I'll drop the link to the page so you can see our full collection of HTML announcements. Now, these are all related to library writing and subject tutoring too. Here's the link to all of our HTML announcements, and I'll send this out along with the recording, so you can share it with any faculty or, you know, associate faculty, any staff or anyone who might want to view this recording at a later time. And of course, you know, if you have any questions, you can always reach out to us. But I'll, Kanisha, I didn't want to cut you off if you have anything more to say or share with us.
Sure, just a few help kind of parts on the page. So I know we are working with faculty today. At the very bottom of every page of SAGE Research Methods, there is an information for tab. And if you click on faculty, you can see sample assignments, just how other people are using SAGE Research Methods in the classroom. But if you look under frequently asked questions, the page jumps a little weirdly. There are ways that you as faculty can contribute at SAGE Research Methods. I know we talk about using the resource, and I know it is a paid resource, but there are ways that we do want to work together with you all. So let's see, the second question, how can I contribute to SAGE Research Methods? If you go there under frequently asked questions, any calls for contributors are there. I know this isn't necessarily about use in the classroom, but I love pointing it out because you know, we are as strong as our faculty and other members of the campus community, and sometimes that strength is in output, for better or for worse. So if you're interested in contributing, definitely visit this page. I can also include this in the follow-up, you know, to you all this afternoon.
That's awesome. Thank you. Thanks for sharing. Okay, any last questions before we conclude? All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining us today. Huge thanks to you, Kanisha. I always learn so much whenever you guys come and visit, and just your whole team at SAGE. You guys are rock stars. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
All right. You all have a good week. Thanks again. Bye-bye.